Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Haley Estes. I blog at themountainviewcottage.net where I share farmhouse-inspired DIY and decor. Today I'm going to be doing a new organization video with you that is going to show you how I track and manage all of our finances through this finance binder that I have created. All of these printables I have made I personally use, but you will also be able to access them on my blog for free. I will have that link in the description below. So I hope you enjoy this video and let's get started. Let's begin by taking a peek at the very front of the binder. This will come in two different colorways, so you can pick between this aqua blue like I'm using or a light pink, and it just says finances. You've got this. It's just a little bit of encouragement to help you get started if you have been kind of pushing your budget and your finances to the side for a while. I know how intimidating it can be to sit down and try and tackle all of those things all at once. So I'm hoping that these printables will help you take actionable steps to get started and not feel completely overwhelmed. Also, you can see on the side, it says finances as well, and this will be available in both colorways as also. Let's go ahead and take a peek at the first page. On the first page, I have my monthly bill tracker. You can actually print this out for two different ways. You can do monthly, weekly, and bi-weekly. So there'll be three options for you to use so that it will best suit your family's needs. In the bill tracker, there is a due date for each of your bills as well as a payment type. So that's where you'll write in your electricity bill, your mortgage, so you know which bill it is. And then you will have the typical payment, which for me, the typical payment is the budgeted amount. So we have a typical payment for some of the things like our gas bill and our water and utilities. Since those aren't always cut and dry every single month, I just kind of take an average number and put that payment here. And then when we actually pay the bill, I have the actual payment column. So I can type in or write in the actual payment amount, as well as the date that it was paid, so that I know that all of our bills were paid on time. And this is where the budget portion comes into play. So under the typical payment, you will write these in prior to paying any of your bills, hopefully. And then you can go ahead and total it at the bottom. This is going to be the budget that you're basing your family's finances on. So you're hoping that your actual payments either are less or the same as the budgeted payment. This way you can stay on track with your finances, you can get out of debt, and you can begin saving. I encourage you to use this column where you put your payment type to include a savings portion if you're able to save, and if not, use this column to pay an additional amount on your debt so that you can pay it down faster. You will need to go through and track all of the bills that your family has, as well as your typical income, so that you can make sure that you guys are in the green. My husband and I recently went over and redid our finances because his job has changed and our income has changed. And so we kind of went through and picked through some of our bills to make sure that we were under the amount that he was actually making when it came time to pay bills. I also include our grocery bill and other items here so that it's not just our actual bills. So I have budgeted for those items as well, and that we don't have a shortage when it comes time to buy things like groceries. Since I use this every single month, I have actually typed out, I've taken this file, which you'll be able to download, and I have typed in each of our payments and each of the things that we're trying to budget for every single month, including some allotted payments, which I will explain in just a minute. And then I have written down the typical payment, which is the amount we have budgeted for, and I have all of this typed out instead of written by hand in these three columns right here. And then the only thing that I do is come over and write the actual payments and the date paid every time we pay these bills or make the purchases that go in the actual payment column. And then at the very end of the month, we come over and we tally it up and we see where we're at for our budget at the end of the month. This has been an awesome way for our family to keep track of our finances and keep on a strict budget. When I know the amount that we have budgeted for, it makes it so much easier when I'm grocery shopping or if we have a couple other little expenses come up during the month. We have $100 per paycheck for those kinds of things, so that I know if I spend any more than that we will be over budget, which is not where we want to be. So this has been great in helping us keep track and stay on budget while also paying down our debts much faster. Next, we have the deposits and paychecks. So you will also write in all of your deposits throughout the month. These can be typical deposits you get from paychecks, random ones you get from family or friends or whatever it may be. And then you're going to take your budgeted number from the monthly amount, and you are going to subtract it from the total amount of deposits, and you're going to come up with your end of month balance. This number will be positive or negative depending on how well you've done on your budget, and you can reprint these every single month or every single week, however you choose to do your finances, so you can keep track of your budget and how you do each and every payday. Next, we have the allocated funds. This is basically a fancy term for savings accounts that you will set up for certain categories of things that you know are going to come up throughout the year but are not payments you make every single paycheck. For example, we have in the category section, these will be the names of those savings account. We have one for Christmas, for our immediate family birthday funds, which include me and my husband and our children. And then we have an extended family birthday fund for the family members that we know we will give birthday presents or gifts to throughout the year. We also have one for medical needs. This is kind of assessed off of needs that I know are going to come out of our account eventually. And then there's an excess amount for things that may come up throughout the year, like sick child visits and things like that. And this has been such a lifesaver. Allocated funds are things that you already know you're gonna have to pay for. Health expenses, house expenses. And so this just gives you a way to have those funds set aside prior to those events happening, so that you don't have to put them on a credit card and you don't have to dip into your official savings account. So what we do is we have a budgeted amount that we want for the entire year. It will go here in the yearly goal for each of the categories. And then we have an amount that we pay per payday. So we've basically just broken those categories up and taken the yearly goal and divided it among the amount of paydays we will have throughout the year, which is a much smaller number. And then each payday we pay into those savings accounts. And then I just write the balance here. And every so often I will reprint a new one pretty much every month. So we know we are where we're at with the balance of these accounts, and we know we have money set aside for those payments and expenses that are going to occur. These are also part of our budget. So we include these amount per payday in our budget. And so I keep them on our monthly budget tracker and as part of the budgeted payments amount, so that I know that we have budgeted for those items. If you are trying to pay down a lot of debt, you can have very few categories in this area, just so that you have the things that you need most, such as medical needs and house expenses taken care of, and maybe Christmas, so that you can pay more to debt. And then once you've paid down your debt, you can add more things to this category so that you have money set aside for those items. Next, we have the account manager. This is simply a way to keep track of all of the accounts that you may have. Back to the allocated funds, you'll see that you'll end up having quite a few savings accounts if that is a system that you decide to implement. And so this is just an easy way to keep track of your accounts and make sure you know the account numbers and the routing numbers for various things. And they're all just in one easy place for you to see. Next, I also store all of our bills for the last 6 months in this binder. So I just have cover pages for each of the sections of bills that I store here. I'm not sharing any of those with you because they have personal information on the pages, but in between each of these cover pages, I also keep either a folder that clips into the binder or just a clear sheet protector, and I store all of our bank statements, loan statements, credit card statements, utilities, housing, transportation, leisure expenses, insurance, education, and then I have an other cover page as well. This way I can keep track of all of our payments. I can also double check and make sure that we've paid these payments. And also, if it seems like a payment that we've had that's been the same amount for a long time begins to fluctuate, I can keep an eye on that. You can tell every now and then perhaps your trash or your water utilities will add some charges and things will kind of get funny. And this is a great way to keep track of that so that you can call those companies and see why those charges are higher, and you can save yourself money in the long run because you know exactly how much you've paid for the last 6 months. And if anything changes, you can be on top of it. Next, we have the debt tracker, and this is going to be key in helping you get out of debt and save money. What you're going to do is write down each of the debts that you have in this category, the balance for each of them, as well as the interest rate and the minimum payment that is due each pay period. Before you do that, you'll probably want to go to a scrap piece of paper and write down all your debt. And you're going to write it from least amount from the balance to the highest amount balance. This is because you're going to want to be able to pay it off the fastest way possible. And we like to use Dave Ramsey's baby steps in order to do that. This is a pretty common practice in getting out of debt because it works so great. The general idea, I won't go into extreme detail, is that you start by paying off the lowest amount of debt first. You take whatever extra money you have from your budget and you throw it into that single amount of debt until it has been completely paid off. Something we have found that works the absolute best for this method is setting up automatic payments through our online bill pay with our bank so that those payments automatically come out when our check is deposited so we don't have a chance to spend that extra amount that's going towards debt. So over here, it says aggressive payment. So for the first category of debt, you're going to come up with a plan that you can afford for an aggressive payment amount that is more than the minimum payment. Calculate how long it will take you to pay off that debt with that amount and see where you'll be in the next couple months on your debt. You'll be amazed at how quickly you're able to pay off your debts. And then if there's months where you're able to pay more, hopefully you'll be able to pay it off even faster. Then when you move down to the second highest amount of debt, you're going to take the aggressive payment you were currently paying and add it to the minimum payment for that second debt. This way you're paying more and more as you go down the row. So as you pay off however many items of debt that you have, you snowball that amount that you were first paying, so the payment is a little higher each time as you add it to the minimum payment due for each of those debts. This is the fastest and most efficient way that my family has been able to ever pay off debt. And it makes such a difference. If you're interested in more information about Dave Ramsey, he has a website. I am in no way affiliated with him. This has just been something we've implemented that has really helped us get out of debt and stay on track. And if you're already out of debt, which is amazing, you can use his steps to also save money, which is a great, great system. This payment amount will also be something that you add to your monthly bill tracker. That way that you are budgeting for the aggressive payment so that you can pay down your debt as fast as you can, but you can also make sure that you're still in budget while doing so. That will wrap up the finance binder that I have put together for me and my family. I've been using a similar system for about 5 years now. This is just the most updated version with some new pretty printables for you to use as well. I hope you enjoy this and that it helps you get your finances back on track and save money and get out of debt. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll subscribe to my channel for more farmhouse inspired DIY and decor ideas.